Welcome back to informational Metalstorm content from Iris Gaming. This video is taking a slightly different direction, and rather than talking about aircraft and their stats, is going to talk about one of the maps you fly them on. Specifically, we'll look at Stormbreak, first with some discussion and annotation based on the minimap. After that, I'll fly around it in an empty match, and point out the features we've been talking about as well as some other tricks. As always, feedback on the content is appreciated, as are subscriptions to help the channel. And if you've already subscribed, thank you, and welcome back. Stormbreak is characterized by the titular break in the middle of the map, splitting it into two halves, one for each team and spawn point. The central cliff is one key area of the map. The others include the two open areas around the spawn points, and the areas of cover off to the sides of the spawns. Let's look at each in turn. The open areas in front of each spawn run up to the central cliff in front, and are bounded on the sides by cover. Within the area, cover is low and relatively minimal. The cliff shields the spawns from each other unless you climb to higher altitudes. The two sides are similar but not identical. The southern spawn has slightly higher cover in the center of the area, while the northern spawn has side corridor of cover. If you move out of the spawn areas to the side, you end up in a taller cover area that connects to the central cliff. This could be used to move from the spawn up to the cliff with less exposure to aircraft popping over the cliff. Again, the two sides are different. The southern side is mostly large, tall pillars, while the northern side has more varied terrain with plateaus and some low-level arches to fly through. The only two health pickups on the map are found in these two areas. Due to their proximity to the spawn points, going for the other health is risky and will expose you fairly heavily to the enemy team. The open areas and the side areas all lead into the central cliff. This is where all three of the rearm points on the map are. You can just fly over the cliff, or there are some small tunnels that pass through it, as well as a cross-shaped tunnel at ground level that runs through most of the cliff. You can use these tunnels and pass through to surprise the enemy. You can also poke your head over and quickly retreat. And longer-ranged aircraft like interceptors can climb to altitude to simply shoot over the cliff. Let's take a look around the map while discussing what these characteristics tell us about how to fight and fly on Stormbreak. For starters, the rearm points are all central, while the health is not, making it harder to do a full restock run. However, if you can conserve your health, you can fight around the central cliff almost indefinitely due to the proximity of rearms, even in aircraft with fewer weapons. The large open areas in front of the spawns mean that lighter aircraft want to be very careful about getting caught out in the open there. They can use the side cover areas to approach the fights if needed. Conversely, interceptors and heavy missile carriers love to pick off targets there. Attack planes have some of the same considerations due to their shorter range, but also want to utilize the tunnels in the cliff to force advantageous head-on fights. And all aircraft want to be careful of committing too heavily to the enemy's side of the map and getting caught out. Poke out for a kill or two, but have a way back to safety. Similarly, the central rearm point is very useful, but also very exposed. If you have the agility to go up for it and stay on your side of the map, instead of circling the pillar, it can be useful. Finally, let's talk about the air superiority setup on Stormbreak. As is usually the case, the central B point is sheltered from long-range fire. You have to go through the tunnels to capture it, and that shields anyone making a run for it. Unlike some other points that have a short circle around a pillar to hold them, the circuit here is longer, requiring ducking out of the tunnel and back in an entrance. Because of the tunnel approaches, B rewards planes that can win head-ons, especially in the initial capture. A and C are more exposed, and A a little more so than C. However, the B to A connection is more sheltered in general, with the B to C connection varying depending on which side of the cliff you come out. Overall, Stormbreak is a nicely balanced and fun map, with something for every type of plane. With coordinated teams, it can turn into a bit of a camp fest, due to the clear delineation of the central cliff, but this is much less prevalent in traditional random play. However, you can use the lessons of these teams about relying on the advantage of your side of the map and the open spawn areas to your benefit when playing with randoms. Thanks for watching. Feedback always welcome and appreciated. If you found this content helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe to help the channel get off the ground. And until next time, fly well.